My life before the Porsche was a carefully orchestrated symphony of spreadsheets and stock options. As a finance professional, I toiled in the unforgiving arena of high-stakes investments, enduring relentless pressure and sacrificing personal time for the elusive promise of financial security. Vacations were mythical creatures, spoken of but never encountered, and my social life consisted primarily of strained conversations over lukewarm coffee at the office. But I was good at what I did, consistently exceeding expectations and generating substantial returns for my firm and, more importantly, myself. The long hours and unwavering dedication fueled a singular ambition to reward myself in a way that tangibly reflected my success. And so, after years of relentless grinding, I finally pulled the trigger. A brand new fire-engine red Porsche, 911 Carreras. The moment I laid eyes on it at the dealership, I knew I had made the right decision. The sleek lines, the throaty growl of the engine, the intoxicating scent of new leather. It was everything I had ever wanted, and more. Driving it home was an almost surreal experience, a tangible manifestation of years of hard work and unwavering focus. I parked it proudly in front of my house, a gleaming beacon of achievement, and for the first time in a long time, I felt a genuine sense of contentment. The car was more than just a status symbol. It was a reminder that my sacrifices had been worth it. It represented freedom, success, and the audacity to indulge in the fruits of my labor. Little did I know that this symbol of personal triumph would soon become a catalyst for neighborhood drama, pitting me against a woman whose envy knew no bounds. The arrival of the Porsche transformed my quiet suburban street into a stage 4. Petty rivalries and simmering resentments. Neighbors who had previously offered only curt nods now waved enthusiastically, eager to catch a glimpse of the coveted machine. Questions about its horsepower, price tag, and top speed became commonplace, and I found myself fielding inquiries with a mixture of pride and mild amusement. Some even requested to take photographs with the car, treating it as a celebrity on wheels. However, amidst the general curiosity and admiration, one individual stood out. Karen, my neighbor across the street. Karen, a woman seemingly perpetually clad in tennis attire despite a conspicuous absence of athletic activity, had always possessed a certain air of entitlement. Her interactions with the neighborhood were often laced with condescension, and her gaze held a distinct quality of judgment. But the moment she laid eyes on my Porsche, a palpable shift occurred. The polite, albeit strained, smile she had occasionally offered vanished, replaced by a glare that seemed to bore into the very metal of the car. It was the kind of look that silently screamed, "How dare you possess something I don't?" Initially, her displeasure manifested in subtle jabs. "That car's a bit flashy, don't you think?" she'd remark, her tone dripping with thinly veiled disdain. Or, "Hope it's not least a poorly disguised attempt to diminish my accomplishment." I dismissed these comments, chalking them up to garden-variety envy. I had earned my success, and I certainly didn't owe Karen an explanation or apology for it. However, her passive-aggressive remarks soon escalated into a direct confrontation. One sunny afternoon, as I meticulously washed and waxed the Porsche in my driveway, Karen approached, her arms folded across her chest like a self-appointed sheriff about to deliver a citation. She launched into a bizarre and unsettling monologue. She began by stating that her son had recently obtained his driver's license, a fact seemingly irrelevant to our interaction. But then came the bombshell. She declared that my Porsche would be better appreciated by someone who actually knows the value of things, implying, of course, that I did not. The audacity of her statement left me momentarily speechless. Was she seriously suggesting what I thought she was suggesting? Breaking the surprised silence, she continued saying that it was only fair that I share my success, a phrase so dripping with entitlement that it bordered on the absurd. Then the kicker. She revealed that her husband was a police officer, a not-so-subtle implication that she possessed the means to make things happen. If I didn't comply with her unspoken demand, the implication hung heavy in the air. Was this a veiled threat? The situation had rapidly spiraled from petty jealousy to outright extortion. Struggled to contain my disbelief and amusement. Surely she couldn't be serious. I responded with a simple, unequivocal no. I refused to entertain her ridiculous proposition, let alone succumb to her thinly veiled intimidation tactics. Her face contorted with rage, her eyes narrowed, and she stormed off, muttering something about ungrateful millennials and the entitlement of the wealthy. I watched her go, shaking my head in disbelief. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong, so very wrong. No more than 5 minutes later, the unmistakable wail of a police siren shattered the tranquility of the afternoon. A patrol car, lights flashing, pulled up directly in front of my house. My heart sank. Was this really happening? Had Karen actually called her husband and weaponized her position to harass me over a car? The answer, unfortunately, was a resounding yes. The officer emerged from the vehicle, and as I had suspected, it was indeed Karen's husband. He approached me with a stern demeanor, his eyes devoid of any trace of empathy or understanding. He addressed me as if I were a suspect at a crime scene, demanding to know if the car was stolen. The sheer absurdity of the accusation left me momentarily dumbfounded. What? I stammered, struggling to comprehend the situation. He reiterated his question, his voice laced with suspicion. He demanded that I provide proof of ownership, implying that I was somehow fraudulently in possession of my own vehicle. I maintained my composure, refusing to allow his intimidation tactics to rattle me. I calmly walked into the house, retrieved the car title, my driver's license, and the original invoice from the dealership, irrefutable evidence of my legitimate ownership. I presented the documents to him, but he barely glanced at them, his face remaining fixed in a scowl, declared that he had received a report of illegally parked vehicle and possible forged registration. A blatant fabrication designed to justify his unwarranted intervention. The air crackled with tension. It was a transparent abuse of power, a clear demonstration of how personal vendettas could corrupt even the most trusted institutions. Meanwhile, Karen stood on the sidewalk, a smug grin plastered across her face. Reveling in my perceived misfortune, seemed to believe that she had finally gained the upper hand, that her husband's authority would be enough to force me to relinquish my prized possession. But she had underestimated me. While Karen relished what she thought to be her victory, I already had a strategy playing. I had anticipated that she might try something underhanded, so I had taken the precaution of installing a comprehensive security system around my property, including doorbell cameras and strategically placed surveillance devices. I flipped open my smartphone, navigated to the security app, and proceeded to present the officer, Karen's husband, with undeniable visual evidence of her recent activities. The first video clip showed Karen snooping around my front porch. Just a week prior, the footage showed her peering into my windows, testing the front door handle, generally behaving in a manner that would be considered suspicious and unsettling by any reasonable person. The officer's expression shifted slightly as he watched the clip, a flicker of unease crossing his features. But the next piece of footage was even more damning. The video, captured by my side garage camera the night before, showed Karen creeping up to the Porsche and meticulously taking pictures of the VIN plate. The image was crystal clear, leaving no room for doubt. I explained to the officer that if this harassment continued, I would have no choice but to file a formal complaint. And given his involvement in the situation, I would also be submitting a complaint with internal affairs, highlighting his abuse of power and his complicity in Karen's vindictive scheme. The mention of internal affairs had a visible effect on him. His entire demeanor changed. The arrogance and hostility that had characterized his earlier behavior evaporated, replaced by a palpable sense of apprehension. He stepped away from me and engaged in a hushed conversation with Karen. Her voice, initially low and conspiratorial, quickly escalated into a shrill tirade. I could hear snippets of their argument. "You promised, said we could get it." It became painfully clear that Karen had orchestrated this entire charade, using her husband's position to attempt to seize my car for her own selfish desires. He tried to calm her down, but she was beyond reason, her face contorted with fury and disappointment, just as the situation threatened to devolve into a full-blown public spectacle. A second patrol car arrived on the scene, Apparently, my decision to record the entire incident and live stream it to the non-emergency line had paid off. The dispatcher, recognizing the potential for abuse of power, had alerted the officer's own department. Now, he was the one being questioned by his fellow officers. The tables had turned dramatically. Karen, realizing that her carefully constructed plan was crumbling around her, unleashed her full fury. She threw a tantrum right there in the middle of the street, slapping the hood of the Porsche and screaming that I had stolen her dream car. Her behavior was so erratic and over the top that even the other officers seemed taken aback. They quickly separated her from the situation, guiding her towards her house while attempting to calm her down. I couldn't hear the entirety of their conversation, but I could see the officer's face etched with a mixture of embarrassment and resignation. 10 minutes later, Karen's husband sheepishly returned my documents without a word, his eyes avoiding my gaze. He then climbed into the back of the second cruiser and was driven away, leaving Karen standing on her porch, screaming about lawsuits and vowing that this isn't over. I watched them go, a sense of grim satisfaction washing over me. I had stood my ground, defended my property, and exposed their blatant abuse of power. But the drama wasn't quite over yet. The immediate aftermath of the incident was a whirlwind of activity. I spent the evening recounting the events to the investigating officers, providing them with copies of the security footage and a detailed written statement. The following days were filled with phone calls from internal affairs, follow-up interviews, and the nagging feeling that I was being watched. The neighborhood buzzed with gossip. Some neighbors offered their support, expressing outrage at Karen's behavior, while others whispered behind my back, questioning my motives and speculating about the incident's true nature. But amidst the chaos, one thing remained constant. My Porsche still gleamed in the morning sun, a symbol of my resilience and a testament to the simple fact that hard work pays off. Then, 2 weeks later, a for sale sign appeared on Karen's lawn. The news spread through the neighborhood like wildfire. Apparently, her husband had been suspended from the police force pending a full investigation, and they were selling their house and moving to another state to escape the fallout. The irony was rich. Karen's attempt to steal my dream car had ultimately cost her everything. I never saw her again. The Porsche, still parked proudly in front of my house, still shines every morning. It serves as a daily reminder of my achievements, my ability to overcome adversity, and the importance of standing up to bullies, no matter how powerful they may seem. And sometimes, when I'm driving down the street, I catch a glimpse of a tennis racket in someone's garage, and I can't help but smile. Some battles are worth the fight, and sometimes the sweetest victories are the ones that are least expected. The red Porsche, a symbol of my success, remains a constant reminder that even in the face of envy and adversity, hard work and integrity can prevail, leaving a gleam that no amount of negativity can ever dull.